Well, they're climbing again as we go into our weekend forecast, and by tomorrow, everyone's under a weather impact alert. We'll take a look at those details.
A new study says that sharks could be coming to the coast more often as waters warm during El Nino. I'll tell you why coming up.
Working for you, why are we seeing lower water levels at our local reservoirs?
A teenager reunites with doctors who saved her life and shares an important message that could save others too.
And big spending on back to school. $864 is the average. Tonight we'll talk numbers, trends, and big ticket items.
We begin with a live look at our coast tonight, and it's gorgeous. Many of you might be heading out in the coming days looking for relief from intense heat being felt all over San Diego County. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Carlo Cicchetto.
I'm Marcella Lee. The hotter temperatures make today a weather impact alert day, and the heat isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Chief Meteorologist Carlene Chavis joins us now for a first look at how it will impact you. Carlene.
Well, we are looking at more of that heat in the forecast, and especially tomorrow, as the entire county will be under heat alerts starting tomorrow. But we just had it for the mountains and the desert for today, as those 90s went right back in as daytime highs across the mountains, and the 110s for the desert. When we look at our highs for today, we had a lot of 90s that were popping up. We saw that for Valley Center as well as for Ramona and for Escondido. It was 90 degrees today for Fallbrook. The 70s and 80s right there along the North County coastline, and we also had 78 degrees for downtown. So temperatures are going to be climbing even more over the next few days, with a peak of that heat being on Saturday. That brings in more widespread mid-80s right there along the coast. You also have the inland valleys added to the extreme heat warnings, and that will go into effect, both of those alerts at 10 a.m. for tomorrow morning, lasting all the way through Sunday evening. So the peak of the heat, as mentioned, will be on Saturday. And so for the mountains and the desert across those regions across Southern California, looking at some high likelihood when it does come to record heat. When we look ahead to tomorrow to wrap up the work week, well, you still have a whole lot of heat to go around. More of those 90s popping up across the inland valleys, also seeing more of those 80s popping up along the coast, and you got the 110s again for the desert. Temperatures are looking to slip just a little bit more by next week, but that also means an increase in monsoonal moisture. We'll talk about that as well as your surf coming up. Back to you, Marcella.
Thanks, Carlene. And as always, you can find our extended weather forecast on our CBS 8 app. You can stream it anytime for free. Our warm ocean water isn't just attracting swimmers, sharks like it too. Scientists say during Tropical Storm Hilary in 2023, many of the sharks off San Diego's coast left in search of warmer water. But those sharks are now starting to return.
News 8's Alex Cheney joins us live from Torrey Pines to explain. Alex.
Yeah, that's right. So with that study, what they did is they actually put trackers on some of the white sharks out into the water here. They left during the really cold water from that tropical storm. And now, during this El Nino period, the water is warming back up and those sharks are returning.
New research shows juvenile great white sharks off the San Diego coast abandoned their coastal nursery as the tropical storm Hilary moved in. Scientists believe the sharks weren't just escaping the waves. They say the storm caused sea surface temperatures to plunge more than 10 degrees Fahrenheit in less than a day, and the rapid cooling likely drove the young sharks to search for warmer water. And during this El Nino period with warming ocean water, more sharks could stay closer to the beach.
The sharks could potentially stay much later in the season, and they could also be in higher numbers, and we're seeing that in several areas along the Southern California coast.
Keep coming, keep coming. Researchers from UC San Diego's Scripps Institution of Oceanography and Cal State Long Beach tracked 22 juvenile great white sharks using acoustic tags. Before the storm, they were detecting up to 19 sharks an hour off Torrey Pines and Del Mar. When Hilary arrived, those detections were cut in half. The sharks moved to calmer, more sheltered waters, then returned just days after the storm passed and ocean waters started to warm back up.
But as we see this warm water potentially going to persist throughout the year, we could see sharks staying longer in their aggregation sites and potentially being more of them at these nursery hotspots.
Scientists say it's the first direct evidence showing how young great white sharks respond to an extreme weather event.
It's very common this time of year for people to have a lot of questions about sharks, and particularly white sharks, and that just highlights how important it is to study these animals in their natural habitats, and it's so important to have long-term monitoring programs that are able to answer some of these questions that people are so curious about.
The study study also looked at shark bites and found no increase, despite a growing shark population and more people entering the water.
We haven't seen bite risks increase. So that just really speaks to the fact that these sharks, they're natural parts of a healthy ecosystem, and they're really not going after humans.
He went on to say this study is so important because of so many storms that we get off the coast here that really change that water temperature. It's important to know where those sharks are, as we do have to share the water, their natural habitat, with those who like coming to the beach. I'm Alex Cheney. Back over to you.
Sounds like they're saying be aware, don't be too concerned. Alex Cheney, thanks.
That's right.
And you can find more content on our CBS 8 streaming app, including the backstory on Shark Week, where we talk to a shark conservationist. You can stream that anytime for free.
Water levels at some of our local reservoirs are looking a little lower than usual, but leaders with the city of San Diego tell us it's not because of the heat.
News 8's Abby Black is working for you tonight, breaking down what it means for our water supply.
Water level here at Lake Miramar's at 3/4 capacity. It's lower than what it was 2 weeks ago. Working for you, we found that there is a multifaceted reason why this lake and others have seen water drops, and it's not just because of the heat. Aiden Chong and Matthew McAllister come to Lake Miramar often to fish for bass, but Aiden noticed the water's much lower than the last time he was here 2 weeks ago.
We were fishing on one of those docks the other time. I fell off the dock, but now there's nothing to fall on. It's just on the dirt.
As you look out, you can see where the water used to nearly touch the top of the reeds. Glenn Peterson noticed too.
Seems pretty low to me. Well, I was kind of startled to see this over here. I've never seen that dry patch that large, so I knew it was lower than I've seen it before.
The city's latest data shows that Miramar at 78% capacity as of July 20th. It's usually higher. Even the boat ramps are closed.
I don't have a clue as to why it's happening. I was hoping you had those answers.
Peterson isn't the only one asking. Working for you, we went to the city.
I think some people thought the heat.
A city spokesperson tells us the drop at Miramar's for maintenance on their water treatment plant to support Pure Water Phase 1. They expect levels back to normal by next month. The city says that Miramar is a smaller reservoir whose main job is supporting that treatment plant, which is why its levels are normally more consistent. Working for you, we found that Miramar's not the only reservoir running low, but for San Diego's larger reservoirs, the city says it's a different reason. Reservoirs are managed first to protect drinking water, so levels rise and fall with demand. Rainfall and dam safety rules. Local sources now make up more than 30% of the city's supply, up from just 5% a few years ago.
It's this time of year. The demand has to be pretty high.
The lower levels also leave room to capture storm runoff if El Nino brings heavier rain this season.
But when you mentioned preparing for El Nino, that hit me like, oh yeah, it's coming.
The city says its priority is drinking water supply. Still, not everyone's upset about the lower levels.
Good for us fishing, but kind of gnarly for seeing it drop so much.
Bottom line, the city says this is how its water operations are supposed to work. We do have a good water supply. Now, while we should always conserve, we're not running out of water. Working for you in Scripps Ranch, Abby Black, News 8.
And remember, if there is something you would like us to look into, you can email us at workingforyou@cbs8.com. Tonight, a teenager is getting to say thank you to the people who helped save her life after a rare and severe stroke.
Neurologists, first responders, and nurses welcomed her back to UC San Diego Health today. That's where News 8's Alex Lai joins us live. Alex, how was the reunion?
Well, Marcella and Carlo, watching reunions like this is always so heartwarming, but this one was extra special because Rachel suffered a serious stroke when she was just 15 years old. Take a look. Rachel Vasquez Villalobos was rushed to UC San Diego Health last November after suffering a stroke during basketball practice. She remembers dropping the basketball several times before suddenly collapsing. She couldn't speak and lost movement on the right side of her body. Her teammates immediately called 911, allowing first responders and doctors to act quickly. Doctors gave Rachel a clot-busting medication before performing an emergency procedure to restore blood flow to her brain. She regained both her speech and movement, and today, for the first time since leaving the hospital, reunited with the team that helped save her life. Rachel says she feels incredibly grateful to be alive and has stayed positive throughout her recovery.
Thought that I was going to outcome it and I was going to be able to succeed through what happened to me. And honestly, it shows now. And honestly, I'm honestly just grateful to be here. Yeah.
While this was so heartwarming and emotional to watch, it also is a reminder that a stroke can happen to anyone, even a teenager, and fast action can save lives.
And Alex, her age is really what makes this story so unusual. Did doctors say what caused her stroke?
So they said that Rachel had a small hole in her heart that nobody noticed when she was born and has a family history of blood clotting that could have contributed to the stroke. And we'll dive more into her recovery and also these warning signs that all of us should be looking out for in my live report coming up at 9.
All right, we'll see you tonight. Thanks, Alex.
Quick thinking friends on that and teammates, man, amazing.
Glad she's doing okay.